Welcome to The Explainer. In the next few minutes, we're going to break down a massive AI deal that just completely redrew the wrap of the entire industry. We'll show you what almost everyone missed, and more importantly, what it means for your strategy right now.
So let's start with the number that absolutely grabbed all the headlines, $110 billion. This was the reported valuation of a recent mega deal involving OpenAI. And look, it's a staggering figure, no doubt. But as we're about to see, it's also a huge distraction from what's really going on here.
You know, if you only focus on that valuation, you miss the entire point. This is so much bigger than just another startup getting funding. This is a fundamental shift. The race for AI software has officially become an all-out war for the stuff that runs it all, for compute and for capital.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll talk about why that huge number is actually a misdirection. Then, we're going to peel back the 3 hidden layers of this power play. After that, we'll build your new strategic playbook with 4 really clear things you need to do. And finally, we'll zoom out and look at the historical pattern that puts this whole thing into perspective.
Okay, so why is that $110 billion number so misleading? Well, it's because the real story here isn't about money. It's about a deep, fundamental restructuring of power in the AI world.
Right. So this wasn't a simple funding round. Not at all. It was a strategic move, a consolidation of the supply chain. You have OpenAI locking in a massive expansion of its computing power, and at the same time, AWS secured the rights to distribute its models. It's all about controlling AI's core infrastructure. Until just now, the AI power map was pretty simple, right? It was OpenAI, and they ran exclusively on Microsoft Azure. Well, you can take that map and throw it out. It's completely obsolete. The new map shows a diversified OpenAI with way more leverage, now using AWS as a primary distributor. The entire landscape has just been redrawn.
And think about what that really means. The company building what could be the world's most powerful AI just fundamentally changed who controls how that AI gets to you and to your business. This is way beyond a simple business deal. This is a geopolitical chess move on a massive scale. Now, to really get what's happening, we need to break this deal down. You have to see it as 3 distinct layers.
Okay, layer 1 is the economic engine. AI has just crossed this incredible threshold where it's actually financing its own expansion. See, capital flows into a company like OpenAI, which then turns around and pays for Nvidia chips and AWS compute. That money then cycles right back to its infrastructure partners, who use it to build out even more capacity. It's a feedback loop.
This is not your classic startup logic where you just go looking for funding to grow. No, this is industrial logic. This is how you build massive infrastructure. It's the exact same pattern that built the railroads in the 19th century and the electrical grid in the 20th.
All right, Layer 2 reveals the real battlefield. You know, training these huge new AI models gets all the headlines, but insiders know the true war isn't about training. It's for control over inference.
Think about it. Training a model is this massive, one-time cost. But inference? That happens every single time a user asks a question or generates an image. It is the source of constant, recurring revenue. And the cloud provider that controls the distribution of inference, well, they're going to control enterprise AI. This deal positions AWS to be one of the main rails for all that traffic.
And that brings us to layer 3, pure strategic leverage. For OpenAI, this is all about controlling its own destiny.
So make no mistake, Microsoft is still a crucial partner. But that exclusive grip they had, it's been seriously weakened. By bringing AWS into the fold as another major distributor, OpenAI can now play the world's biggest cloud providers against each other. And in this game, that kind of optionality, well, that's the ultimate form of leverage.
So, what does this massive power shift actually mean for you, for your organization? Let's build an actionable playbook based on these new realities on the ground.
Your response to this new landscape just can't be reactive. It has to be strategic. And that strategy really centers on these 4 key imperatives.
First thing, and this is non-negotiable, you have to stop treating your cloud provider like it's just IT plumbing. That era is over. These decisions now directly determine your costs, your performance, and your ability to compete. This is a boardroom conversation now, period.
Second, you should take a page directly from OpenAI's playbook. If they see the need to diversify their partners, then you absolutely should too. Being locked in with a single provider has gone from a convenience to a major strategic vulnerability. It is time to start negotiating for portability and planning for a multi-cloud future.
Third, it's time to change your budgeting mindset. Stop treating AI like some small, experimental pilot program.
The winners in this new era are going to be the organizations that are already modeling the economics of inference and planning for the real cost of running AI across their entire enterprise at scale.
And finally, you have to assume that compute is going to become a scarce resource. Seriously, when every major company on the planet tries to deploy AI at scale, there simply won't be enough infrastructure to go around. The ones who secured their access to these new AI rails early on will gain an almost insurmountable advantage.
Now, to really grasp why this is all so critical, let's just zoom all the way out and look at the powerful historical pattern that is repeating itself right before our eyes.
You know, the core lesson of industrial history is actually pretty simple. Infrastructure is dominance. In the 1800s, if you controlled the railroads, you controlled commerce. In the 2000s, if you controlled the internet backbone, you controlled tech. And in the era we are now entering, control of the AI compute rails, that's going to determine who dominates pretty much everything else.
And let's be really clear here. This isn't some wild guess about the future. This is pattern recognition. The dynamics we are seeing play out today, the fight for infrastructure, the flow of capital, the grab for market control, it's exactly what has happened in every other major technological revolution. The pattern is just screaming at us.
So this deal didn't just create a headline. It laid down the tracks, the rails, for the next era of business. It has redefined the fundamental infrastructure of our economy. And that leaves every single leader out there with one absolutely critical question. Who is controlling the infrastructure that will determine your future?